Phaedo3 shatters the round the island record. New Optimist World Champs. Ballito Pro in South Africa. And now in the newsroom, here is Andi Van Zyl. NC Sports. Plunge into the action.
Welcome back to a brand new edition of NC Sports. I'm Andi Van Zyl and it's the peak of the season. Time to get out there on the water. We know these girls and guys already have. Let's kick it off with today's lineup. Americans of Phaedo3 snatch Ben Ainslie's record at the Round the Island race. Bernard Langley's TP52 Gladiator wins the Gold Roman Bowl, while Prince Harry's Invictus settles for second. Special correspondent Nic Douglass links into the newsroom with the story. If it's happening now, it's on the NC Sports 360. Fiesty little rascals, Switzerland and Malta take individual gold, and the USA conquers the Nations Cup at the 2016 Optimist World Championship in Algarve. O'Leary and Burgess have the edge on the WSL Ballito Pro. De Vos with Baird and Hutchinson take yet another quantum leap at the 52 Super Series in Sardinia. Down to the wire with Figarò Solo update. Plus, live from the foiling week on Lake Garda. Soldini Elkann shove Maserati in Montercarlo. Turner unveils the new VOR and much more. The Round the Island race, Britain's favourite sailing race since 1931, was back on the water last weekend. The USA's Phaedo3 broke Ainslie's 2013 record. And our very own Nic Douglass was on the spot to bring you all the action up close. Here's her report on today's top story. And then she'll be joining us in studio with the insights.
This is Nic Douglass for Adventures of a Sailor Girl. Just finished the JP Morgan Asset Management Round the Island race. Such an iconic race, and the weather and the conditions were just absolutely incredible. He got plenty of interviews with the Phaedo team, who absolutely smashed the record. They did it in 2 hours, 23 minutes and 23 seconds. Absolutely awesome work to Phaedo3, and congrats to all on board.
This particular Round the Island race to have the Isle of Wight record is fantastic.
We had the best conditions possible today. Super fast, yeah. Around the back of the island there, going downwind, we were touching 40 knots at times, and big waves, and sending it was a lot of fun.
I, on the other hand, took 6 hours and 45 minutes to do the race. Better than we all thought on board La Réponse. In fact, we managed to win our division, which is just fantastic, proving that slow and steady wins the race. We didn't even fly a spinnaker. And all those people that were giving me a hard time through the live broadcast, take that. We did do up to 19 knots without a spinnaker, which is pretty insane for a first 40. It was pretty hairy, but it was great to be a part of it.
What an amazing edition of the Round the Island. Now there's a truly iconic race in the UK, always living up to its tradition. Now sailor girl Nic Douglass is connecting with us. Great to have you back, Nic. So great conditions around the Isle of Wight this year, but it sure looks like Lloyd Thurnberg's Phaedo3 got everything right.
Great to be back, Andi, and yes, I think Phaedo really took it to another level this year, even beating Ben Ainslie's record.
Yeah, I mean 28 minutes is quite the gain on the previous record, and I see Ben Ainslie took straight to Twitter to vow his comeback. What do you think about that?
I think it's fantastic, and you know what? I'd love to see their new America's Cup boat doing the Round the Island race next year. That would be awesome. As you've just seen on my report there, guys, it was quite an action-filled race. Plenty of wind, plenty of tide against the wind as well. Made it quite hairy. And even though we didn't fly a spinnaker personally on board the first 40 that I was sailing on, we managed to win the first 40 division, which was pretty awesome. I have to say, it does show you that sometimes slow and steady is the way to go. But fantastic to see over 1,500 boats taking part. Definitely the biggest fleet I've ever competed in by a long way.
How fantastic to be there, Nic, and congratulations on the win. We'll be right back after we take a spin on the NC Sports 360.
The quest for the $1 million cash prize at the end of the World Match Racing Tour has now reached its final chapter in Marstrand, Sweden. The chase on season leaders Taylor Canfield and the US 1 team is now full on, but with 3 straight season wins in Long Beach, Copenhagen, and Newport, all the odds are stacked in the Americans' favor. 25 teams of the brand new Tour de France à la Voile took to the start in Dunkirk Friday for their first 2016 Cannon Blast. Such a packed fleet is already a testament of the renewed success now that the circuit begins its second year racing on the DM24 trimarans. With the 3 stages in the Atlantic and as many in the Mediterranean, the tour will close in Marseille at the end of the month. The Gran Canaria Wind and Wave Festival is now in the limelight as PWA wave riders compete in Pozo Izquierdo, one of the world's top windsurfing hotspots, with gusts often peaking up to 50 knots. Germany's Philipp Kostner and Spain's Ivaya Moreno are currently defending their respective 2015 world crowns. In other boards action, South Africa's biggest surfing event, the WSL Pro, is now ongoing. With Mick Fanning having already faced his worst fears, it's all about catching another Aussie, Matt Wilkinson, resting on a huge lead. Poised for the challenge are Gabriel Medina and JJ Flores, who will need to narrow down the gap in order to stay in the game.
So Nick, among those ongoing top events this week is the World Match Race Tour final in Sweden. Do you think anyone actually can topple Canfield?
I'm not sure, Andy. It's going to be really difficult for anybody to take his crown. He has been quite the dominant force in the M32s, and now that it is officially part of the World Match Racing Tour, we'll have to see. But Bjorn Hansen is incredible in Marstrand. He is the king of Marstrand, as he's known, so maybe he might be the one to take down Canfield. We'll just have to see. But $1 million is up for grabs. I think that's the biggest prize money we've seen in sailing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the results of that. Okay, Nick, lastly, the Tour de France à la Voile kicked off this morning. It's the second year that the circuit has moved to the DM24 trimarans. What's your take on this?
I think, Andy, my verdict's still out on this one. Personally, I think there's quite a few things happening with multi-holes at the moment, and it was really nice, personally, to see that the Volvo Ocean Race has gone back to longer legs this time around. Whereas now we're not really seeing a tour as much. It's really short legs on another multi-hole. So yeah, my verdict's still out. Hopefully it works for them. I like to see everything work in sailing, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna work in terms of the format and what everybody really liked seeing happen with the Tour de France.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for your insights as usual. We look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Conor O'Leary and Sky Burgess topped the Ballito Pro, Quantum Leap in Sardinia at the 52 Super Series, and Figarò Solo braces for the final battle. It's all coming up next on today's NC Sports Briefs.
The WSL's first QS 10,000 event of the season wrapped up at Willard Beach, South Africa, with Conor O'Leary taking top honours in epic 1 to 1.5 metre waves. The Australian beat out French surfer Johan Duroux in the final of the Ballito Pro in a battle that saw the lead constantly changing hands. The win propels the 22-year-old O'Leary into the number 2 spot in the overall rankings, behind front-runner Italian Leonardo Fioravanti, who landed a disappointing 9th place. Duroux moves up from 8th to 3rd overall. Despite a near-perfect 9.90, the highest single-ride score of the event, Frenchman Jeremy Flores had to settle for a 3rd-place tie with Hawaiian surfer Etsika Lau to round out the podium. Earlier in the week, Australian Sky Burgess triumphed in the women's division after a hard-fought final with Durban's Sarah Baum.
Six points were just enough for Quantum to hold back Ran in Sardinia last weekend and nail a key back-to-back victory at the Settimana delle Bocche Classic. Pulling away early in the season, Amway president Doug DeVos with America's Cup veterans at Baird and Hutchinson are now the team to beat on the 52 Super Series. Nicolas Zenstrom outbossed at Skype, among other, and the helmsman on Ran has been holding his own with the help of more pros like Morgan Larson and Adam Bichel, now trailing by nearly 30 points in second place overall. After a poor 2016 start, the Romers brothers on Azzurra are now climbing back up the ladder, with a third place in Sardinia and also on the overall leaderboard. The next chance to catch up to Quantum Racing will be Mallorca at the end of July.
The 2016 Solitaire du Figaro is closing Stage 3 with boats expected to arrive in La Rochelle July 5th. The 39 competing skippers left Paimpol-les-Artrieux July 2nd under blue skies and 14 to 18 knot westerly winds, with Brit Alan Roberts on Alan Roberts Racing leading the fleet in this short but demanding 410 nautical mile sprint along northern Brittany through the ruthless tidal currents of Raz de Seine and finally winding up in La Rochelle. Roberts' advantage was short-lived as current overall leader Frenchman Johan Richomme on Skipper Massif 2014 soon took the reins, only to be overtaken by Thierry Chabagny on Jedimet. Chabagny then fell back to third as Richomme recaptured the lead, followed this time by Nicolas Lunvan on Generali. Once in La Rochelle, the 35 male and 4 female skippers in this 47th edition of the Offshore Classic will have a 24-hour respite before tackling the final stage, a 130 nautical mile loop to Ile-de-Yeu and back again for the grand finale in La Rochelle on July 7th.
A fiercely competitive Optimist World Championship in Algarve. John Fullerton joins us from the foiling week on Lake Garda. Plus, the new Maserati Multi 70 shines in Montercarlo. More NC Sports coming up right after the break. Welcome back to NC Sports. Not just competitive, these kids are downright fierce. Well, they have to be when the 2016 Optimist World title was up for grabs last Monday after a sensational week of sailing in Portugal's Algarve. Who knows, maybe the next Ainslie, Spithill or Burling could be among them. Claudia Casagrande has the story.
The USA captured their first ever world title at the 2016 Optimist World Championship in Vila Moura, Portugal, after uncooperative winds forced the race to be cut short. Argentina and Italy earned second and third spots on the podium respectively. The lack of wind was a disruptive factor in the individual competition as well, making it possible to complete only one of 2 planned races. Switzerland's Max Wallenberg, who finished second, was crowned world champion after a BFD knocked Norway's Matthias Bertet back a spot, leaving Malaysia's Muhammad Fauzi Kaman Shah to take third. In the girls' camp, Malta's Victoria Schultes is the new Optimist World Champ, while Denmark's Helena Wolf was the runner-up, and Jody Lai from Singapore finished third.
Some pretty tight racing on the Opties, and I wouldn't doubt that we'll be seeing them fly soon. That's because everything is either going or gone foiling. Today we're connecting with John Fullerton, International Media Officer for the Foiling Week. Hi John, thank you for joining us. Tell us what it's like out there in Lake Garda.
It's got superb conditions. The climate today, for instance, we have hot, warm sun here. The breeze is just starting to build. Sailors love to come here because we have the regular Aura and the regular Pele, and this is why a number of big world championships are held in this part of the world.
So tell us, what is actually the purpose of Foiling Week?
Well, Foiling Week actually is a unique event. It's a series of different events, all dedicated to these incredible flying boats. So first we have a number of regattas for the established classes that come. And then we have a forum for 3 days. The forum is for sailors, designers, and all the thinkers and tinkerers, as we like to call them. They discuss projects, they exchange ideas, and they go away with all sorts of new ideas about the world of foiling. And then thirdly, there is a number of exhibitions. We have foiling awards, and we also have the opportunities for boat trials, so people can actually go out and test these foiling boats.
And of course, there's all the big names in sailing on the GC32s. How are the pros enjoying Lake Garda?
Yeah, well, as I say, Lake Garda is the perfect venue for foiling boats. And you're right, we have 10 fully professional teams here from the GC32 circuit, which is a global circuit now set up for these incredible flying machines. We have a number of teams from the America's Cup teams. 2 in particular are competing here this week. We have Frank Camas, who is the principal and skipper of Groupama Team France. And we have Glenn Ashby, who is the skipper on board Emirates Team New Zealand. He is coaching and working with one of the other teams here in the series. So we have some very high caliber sailors competing in the GC32s, and that is one of the marquee events this week.
Okay, John, we're going to look at another story just now because Italy's Giovanni Soldini and John Elkann of Fiat Chrysler presented the new Maserati Multi 70 at the Monaco Yacht Club last week. Let's hear what they had to say about their new foiling adventure.
Partiamo per un nuovo progetto che è molto ambizioso, è una barca bellissima, super entusiasmante.
We're taking off for a new and very ambitious project. It's a beautiful and super exciting boat. It's very interesting. What's key is our new right foil, which is L-shaped, and we are the first ones to use a foil with these characteristics in the ocean.
Con queste caratteristiche in oceano, è un foil che è in grado di far volare la barca.
It allows us to fly the boat on flat water. It's very different when used on the sea and in the middle of the waves.
In mezzo al mare con le onde, eccetera.
Una sensazione bellissima quella di vedere il mare da.
It's a wonderful sensation to watch the sea from above and get the feeling that you're flying on the water. It's a boat that at the beginning one has to understand how it works, and then she carries you away.
Deve capire come funziona e poi dopo ti fai.
So helling is a great experience and much different from a traditional boat or a monohull.
Un'esperienza molto diversa da quella che è una barca tradizionale, un monoscafo.
Well, John, I think it's safe to say that the foiling generation is here to stay. While the pioneering stage is over, what is the research and development working on? For example, I hear that control is now on the top of the agenda at the America's Cup.
Yeah, that's right. There's actually quite a similarity between auto racing, motor racing, and sailing in this area, because a lot of the control systems for the wings, particularly, and the foils now are getting very, very technical. We have a lot of the designers here at Foiling Week that are discussing these sort of projects, but they get together and it's very technical about the foils and the wings that drive these America's Cup boats. And this is the area where there's a lot of research and development and a lot of testing. Hours and hours of research go into perfecting these products to get the maximum speed out of these boats.
John, thank you so much for taking time out your day to share your insight with us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend in Lake Garda and hope to catch up with you again soon.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. See you soon.
In other top releases, newly appointed CEO Mark Turner announced the official route of the 2017 to 2018 Volvo Ocean Race last week. This is now sailing's biggest event in marketing terms, surpassing even the America's Cup. 10 legs are scheduled for the 13th edition, with yet another start from Spain's Alicante in the Mediterranean to Lisbon. Then 2 long ocean stretches, first 7,000 to Cape Town and then another endless 12,000 nautical miles to Hong Kong. Another 6,000 to Auckland, New Zealand and 7,500 to Itajaí in Brazil. And you're back in the Atlantic. Then it's back up north to Newport and across to Cardiff, with final legs in Gothenburg and Le Havre. Another great race. Most striking, however, in the hype of the announcement is what's missing. The outright cancellation of the Middle East stopover in Abu Dhabi does stand out, especially since their team won the last super successful VOR with Ian Walker. We'll be keeping close tabs on what's going on in VRO circles in the coming months. Let's take a sneak peek now at some other great events that are a little bit closer in time. Mark the calendar, plan a different weekend. It's all coming up on the NC Sports calendar.
The world's fastest kite foilers head to southern Italy's Hang Loose Beach in Gizzeri, July 14th to 20th, for Act 1 of the IKA Kitefoil Gold Cup. Reigning Gold Cup champ Monegasque Maxime Nochet will seek to fend off challengers like Britain's teen sensation Ollie Bridge, as well as top racers like Axel Mazzella, Julien Kerner, and Nico Parlier, following World Sailing's decision not to ban them for participating in prohibited IFKO events. Expect a tight battle in the women's camp between multiple chaps Steph Bridge from Britain, winner of last year's edition, and reigning Formula World champ Russia's 18-year-old Elena Kalinina. Some of the biggest names in ocean racing will line up at the Port of Quebec on July 10th for the start of the 9th edition of the prestigious Transat Quebec Saint-Malo. The 26-yacht fleet includes 19 Class 40s, 4 Multi-50s, 2 Ultimate Trimarans, and 1 Open Mono. Gilles Lamiret and Thibaut Vauchel-Camus, respective winners of the recent Transat Bakerley race in the Multi-50 and Class 40 divisions, will be among those seeking to beat the existing record for the crossing of 7 days and 20 hours, set in 1996 by Loïc Perron at the helm of Fuji Color 2. Round 2 of the F1 H2O Formula 1 Powerboat World Championship gets underway in Evian, France, July 16th to 17th. 10 teams will face off in the Grand Prix of France on the waters of Lake Léman for 2 days of inshore racing on the flying catamarans at speeds reaching 135 nautical miles per hour. Reigning champ Frenchman Philippe Chiappe leads the series after a win in Round 1 in Dubai last March, followed by Italian Alex Carella in second place and American Sean Torrente in third.
Our time's up for today. Just a quick reminder, tonight at 9 p.m. CET, right here on Nautical Channel, don't miss the Swiss Do It Better. A half-hour NC Sports special at the recent 2016 Bol d'Or Mirabeau. A simply amazing race. As always, in the meantime, I'll leave you with the latest top action clip, this time straight from the Munich MASH and the premiere of the wakeboard Big Air. I'm Andi Van Zyl, and remember, plunge into the action with NC Sports.